on the link. Good morning and welcome to Overdose and Chill, episode number 152. We are streaming live on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. My name is Vincent and I'm the APAC Marketing Director here at Overdose. My guest today is a trailblazing innovator in e-commerce, the CEO of Lasoo Marketplace, Rob Draper. Rob, great to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Vinny.
No worries. Very excited to have a chat today and hear more about Lasoo. So I think let's jump into it. I'd love to hear more about the backstory of Lasoo. Give us a rundown of the platform and your journey so far.
Sure, mate. So Lasoo's been around for a while, actually. It was initially founded in 2007 as a digital catalogue aggregation platform. So a site you could come and just view different people's catalogues. We came across it as a group in 2019. So we were looking at acquiring a part of Salmat Marketing Solutions in 2019. And when I say we, I mean IVE, the publicly listed entity. We trade as IGL on the ASX. And while we were looking into Salmat, we came across Lasoo. And there are a few things that we found interesting with it. So we chatted with a few of the customers who were using Lasoo, and they were pretty happy with the platform. They like coming in to see the specials in the catalogues each week. But when we asked them, if there were areas for improvement on the platform that they would like to see, the kind of unanimous feedback that we got back was they can't purchase anything on the platform and they would like to. So they could see the specials, but they couldn't purchase them. So we found that quite interesting. We chatted with a few retailers who were on the platform, and they seemed up for the idea of transforming the platform into an e-commerce marketplace that's specials focused and more curated, I would say, than other marketplaces out there, amongst a lot of other USPs we have on the platform today. But that was the initial thought, and we saw an opportunity and decided on that to include Lasoo in the Salmat Marketing Solutions acquisition, built a business model in collaboration with 8 retailers who provided input into it, who were on the Lasoo platform originally. And then we launched the new Lasoo platform, which is an e-commerce marketplace now, so you can actually purchase the specials that are being shown on there and promoted on there. And we launched that just over 12 months ago now in November 2022.
Fantastic. Sounds like a pretty busy time for you and for everyone at the company. How are things going so far? How many retailers have you got on the platform?
So we've got 183 is the exact number today. That could change tomorrow, but at the moment 183. I think one of the key attractions for the retailers on the platform is that we try not to overcrowd it with every man and his dog trying to flog something. As I mentioned before, it is a very curated platform. So we only have retailers on there that we believe will offer our customer base products and specials that they need. And we also curate the product list from those retailers. So we don't list every single one of their SKUs. We pick the SKUs that we think are well priced, the customers will like, and that will sell. And we only promote those and surface those on the platform. So that the customers like that because they're not having to sift through a whole bunch of garbage to find a good deal or a good product. But I think more importantly, the retailers, Vinny, really like it because they get a much higher share of voice on the platform. So, we're only just over 12 months old. So our traffic at this point in time is about half the size of some of these other platforms. And, it's growing very quickly. So I've no doubt it will get there. But the key thing for retailers on the Lasoo platform is that they're not one of 2,000 or, one of 40,000 retailers like eBay. They're one of a select 183. So they get a really high share of voice, and they end up actually getting more eyeballs on their products and stores than they do on a lot of these other platforms because of that.
Yeah, excellent. I'd love to hear a bit more about the brands and the retailers that you are working with at the moment. Are there any particular ones that stand out? Any case studies that you want to mention?
Yeah, sure. Look, you can go on there. We're very open and retailer centric. We put the retailers front and center on the platform. Some of them are the likes of Barbecues Galore, Appliances Online. Carlton United Breweries is selling direct, so you can get their products direct from them, free delivery straight to your door. Stratco, Shields, Lincraft. I can go on and on. I think with regards to a case study, one case study that I like to bring up on the platform is a retailer who operates across a couple of different categories: furniture, electronics, and outdoor categories, which are some of the leading categories that are selling on the platform. They're not the top seller in any of those categories or even on the platform as a whole. But the reason I like them is they have been really selective with their SKU list. So they're only listing about 2,000 products out of a total of 8,000 products that they could possibly list on there. But because they've curated that list really well and done a really good job on the type of products and the price of products that's up there, they're having good sales. So at the moment, they'll be doing around $4 million of sales through the Lasoo platform on an annualized basis, and they're growing very quickly. Within the next 12 months, we would expect that number to double the way that they're currently growing. But the reason I really like them as a case study is they're doing more with less, and really that's what Lasoo's about.
Excellent. Yeah, those are some pretty impressive numbers there. I'm sure any retailer would be pretty happy to see those types of results, within a pretty short amount of time. You mentioned quite a few different, types of brands and retailers before. Can you tell us a bit more about how many categories you've got listed on Lasoo and what it's like working, with multiple categories and types of businesses?
Yeah, sure. So we've got just over 1,000 categories live on Lasoo today. Now, bear in mind that's only within around about a 12, 13-month period from going live. How we classify a category, for example, is wine category is a category. So white wines, red wines would be subcategories, and Riesling's Chardonnay would be subcategories. So there's a lot more of those. But in terms of top level categories, we've got just over 1,000. Based on the current range growth that we're seeing on the platform, there is a big opportunity here still to continue growing. So we would expect that to grow to over 2,000 categories live within the next 12 months. What was the second part of the question? The challenges?
Yeah, look, I was pretty interested to know about what it's like working across so many different categories, and could you tell us a little bit more about the tech that's behind Lasoo and how that empowers you to be able to work across so many different areas, and what are some of the challenges that you found in that space as well?
Yeah, sure. So I think the challenge across working across such a diverse array of categories is consistency of the user experience on the platform. So a shopper shopping for furniture, looks at very different things to a shopper shopping for beer, or someone shopping for fashion or electronics, for instance. So having a consistent user experience across such a wide array of categories is probably the biggest challenge. I would say I like to think that we've overcome that. An example is that the other day I saw someone in the back end in Marketplace, which is part of the tech stack that we use, check out on a barbecue, case of beers, a perfume, and some multivitamins, all in the same checkout, which was quite an odd mix of products. But for me, that anecdotally shows that it is a consistent user experience if you can check out across that many different categories in one transaction. But I think more importantly than that, Vinny, if you look at some of the scores, I think that we've got on the platform, they are quite clear that we are achieving that consistency from a user experience perspective. We got Testmate to conduct a system usability score on the platform. It scored 94 out of 100 on the website, so that shows that customers are really enjoying using it. We're seeing this in the strong repeat customer growth numbers as well. The platform's net promoter score is plus 82, which is the highest I've seen. That started at plus 35 when we launched the platform. And as we've got more products, a greater range and better prices, frankly, on the platform, that's gone up to plus 82 now. The Trustpilot score is 4.3 stars out of 5. When you compare that to other platforms like Catch at 3.2, eBay at 1.8, for instance, we're really happy, with the user experience on the platform and how it started. And I think, it's definitely not the end game for us. That's the starting point. We're not sitting on our laurels. We got some very valuable feedback from those net promoter score and system usability score studies. And we've actually used that to initiate a new customer experience initiative, which is already underway, and we'll be releasing that on the platform around the middle of this year, which is pretty exciting. So keep your eyes peeled for that. You'll see the changes on the platform. They should all be positive. They're all based on customer feedback that we've got, and hopefully they'll continue to get those user experience scores even higher than they currently are. I think in terms of the second parts of that, how does the tech stack help us navigate working across so many categories in a consistent manner? I think one key part of the tech stack that I mentioned earlier being Marketplacer really helps us with this. So Marketplacer is a technology we've incorporated into the tech stack. Essentially, it makes integrations across any category and retailer very simple. So incorporating this into the tech stacks essentially gives us a plug-and-play integration to almost every major e-com platform that's out there and every channel partner that's live in Australia. So this makes our lives a lot easier navigating across a lot of different types of retailers and a lot of different types of categories in terms of getting those products and their data live on the platform in a consistent manner. And I think very importantly for the retailers, Vinny, it just makes their lives a lot easier because there's an existing integration there already.
Excellent. I love hearing those stories about how the customer data's being incorporated into your business and how it's kind of flowing up into those decisions, because it's just such a critical thing to get right these days, and to, feedback's a gift. So really doing something powerful with that and improving things, it's always going to amplify and snowball when it's done right. What are you seeing in terms of categories? What are you seeing as kind of some of the popular categories people are shopping? The examples before are great around barbecues, but yeah, what are you kind of assessing at the moment is like some of the popular product groups that people are shopping on Lasoo?
So the products that are popular at the moment are products in the furniture category, home appliance categories, a big seller. Electronics, of course. Health and beauty is a surprising one for me, but they're in the top 3 categories on the platform. They're doing really well. Pet products are selling well. Sports and outdoors, a lot of outdoor furniture, a lot of fitness equipment selling really well. Alcohol, if you can, we're selling a lot of beer on the platform. If you can get beer direct from the producer of it delivered to your door for free, it helps, obviously. Fashion and jewelry is selling well, and toys and baby, I think, would be the main categories at the moment.
Yeah, excellent. You mentioned something earlier around, the history of the business being in the digital digital catalog space. You still do have a digital catalog function on the website. How are brands using this function, to increase awareness of their offers and to time it alongside campaign launches and things like that?
Yeah, so the digital catalog functionality is a unique piece of functionality to Lasoo. Lasoo is the only platform where you can browse through digital catalogs and actually add products to cart and buy the products on the platform from those catalogs. So it's mainly used by the larger retailers, Vinny retailers who already have digital catalogs on their own platform. So, some of the retailers who are using it at the moment are those larger names I've mentioned, your Stratcos, your Barbecues Galore, Direct Chemist Outlet, Lincraft Shields, and they use it to essentially maximise their return on investment from the digital catalogue. So they're already investing in this channel on their own platforms. They can pod their digital catalogues onto Lasoo. They can use that functionality that exists on the platform free of charge. And ultimately, what that does for no extra cost is amplify their digital catalogue to a much larger audience than they would just get on their own website. And of course, they can measurably increase the sales from that digital catalogue on the Lasoo platform, which they can see on a live basis. So essentially, it's a free hit for them. So they're really enjoying it.
Yeah, fantastic. Now let's kind of switch gears and talk a bit about the marketplace environment as a whole. It's a pretty interesting space. Love to hear your perspective on what's happening in the marketplace area. What developments have kind of gone over the last few years.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting time with COVID. So you would have seen during that COVID era of 2020 to 2022, everything online jumped rapidly. I think the key thing for me is in 2023, just looking at what's happened, and pleasingly, the numbers from the COVID era have held up. They're not continuing to increase at that rate. That's never a sustainable rate. But I think really importantly, they've held up and have continued growth, albeit more modest growth. But for me, the reason why that's pleasing and why it's important is it shows that these online purchases are here to stay. They weren't a flash in the pan that ended in 2022. They've continued continued in 2023 and will continue on into the future, at a more reasonable rate. I think even more importantly than that is the growth of marketplaces in that wider e-commerce sector. What we've seen is that marketplaces are actually pulling that number up and growing at a faster rate than the wider e-commerce sector in general, which is also pleasing.
Yeah, I remember the types of people and demographics that were adopting online shopping during that COVID period. All the numbers coming back were always really fascinating because you're seeing people who, were traditional brick and mortar shoppers all of a sudden having to buy like furniture and office gear. And, it really just opened everyone's eyes up to this is easy, it's functional, I can get a good deal.
I think we've lost your audio, Vinny.
How are we going?
Yeah, you're back, mate.
How are we? We good?
Yep, you're back. But Vinny, you're back. Yep.
Go out.
Oh, there we go.
We're back. Sorry about that. Someone tried to call while we're streaming. It's not very nice. So I was just talking about the different customers and, how people have adapted in that kind of area to, pick up and shop differently than ever. And, to your point, we are still seeing that continue in this day and age, which is really great to see. Mentioned marketplace a bit before. I know that they're, really underpin a lot of that technology that's helped the, adoption of bringing e-commerce functionality through. How did you make that decision? What was the kind of process with choosing them as the, part of the tech stack?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. We had a look around at all the different technologies in that space from overseas as well as locally. There's, a big French um, company that, has a fantastic platform as well in that space, and others over in Asia and America that we looked at. I think ultimately what it came down to in terms of the decision, we wanted to keep it local for starters, but also we were fortunate in the sense I knew Libby Minogue, who is currently the CMO of Virgin Australia at the moment, but she sits on the board at Marketplacer as well. And she introduced us to the founder and CEO there, Jason Wyatt, who we just found fantastic to deal with. I think, when we were chatting with these other technology companies, it was almost a one size fits all. If you don't like it, see you later. The nice thing that I really like with Jason is he sat down, listened to what we were doing, understood the unique point of difference, and then helped tailor a solution to exactly what we need. And ultimately, what I think we've been able to do is create a win-win solution. We get a technology that's really valuable to us and useful to us, but that is tailored in with our platform to an extent, and that we've got a partner as well that can respond to our needs in an agile manner is a really important factor here. So for those reasons, we decided to go with Marketplacer, and just over 12 months in, so far so good. We're happy with them.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, we've got a few shared projects with Marketplace, and we've done some, really interesting activations for companies, and just to be able to see how it really opens doors to new opportunities. The scale, I think, is really interesting. Just looking at how, especially in your case as well, the scale there looks like it's primed. You've got a really good opportunity there to add on and to connect up. Can you tell us a bit more about how scale, is looked at in the business, and how that technology is kind of now in place to be able to help Lasoo grow, wherever you guys want to?
Yeah, well, the platform's highly scalable. So we didn't keep any of the old legacy 2007, old school catalog aggregation platform, really. We completely rebuilt the new Lasoo platform. It's a completely new tech stack. It's highly scalable. It is actually one of the key selling points for engineers in our dev team. When they join us, they just love to work on a completely new tech stack that's been built together with new technology. And it's been built to scale, and I don't see any issues with being able to scale it.
Yeah, fantastic. One of the things, I suppose, underpinning scale is how do you use data, that's coming through. And, given that you've got a lot of different sources of custom information, sales, marketing, how is data looked at the business from your end? And, what are you doing with that to inform future decisions?
So the way we look at data is this, crucially important, but to a point where you don't get analysis paralysis, right? So we like to make data-informed decisions in an agile manner. We don't like to, on one side of the spectrum or pendulum, make knee-jerk reactions based on impulse with no data behind them. But on the other end, we don't like to have analysis paralysis. So, we operate in the middle, and the way we use data, where we look at all sorts of different data, we've got, data coming out of our ears. One example was, like I gave you earlier, where we get customer data back that helps inform what we can do to improve the customer experience. Generally, we look at data in different time increments. So we have daily data, weekly data, monthly data that we look at. The daily data is things like platform sales, traffic, users, core web vitals, shipping data, all those things to make sure that the products are getting shipped on time, platform's performing as it should. The traffic's coming in, the sales are coming in. We're interested to see what's being sold on the platform, which helps us again curate the feed as to what the customers are finding interesting and are looking for. So it's that type of data we use on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, we look at things like what channels are performing, which retailers are performing, which categories are performing, and that just helps us to continue optimize the range of products that are on the platform, amongst other optimizations to do with marketing or whatever. And then monthly, we look at bigger picture stuff. So how are people using the site? What is the customer journey? Where are the friction points? How can we remove that? But again, I think it all ultimately ratchets down to making data-driven decisions in an agile manner without being so encumbered by data that you don't do anything, and making sure on the other side that we're not making knee-jerk reactions without data. So we like to get that Goldilocks point in the middle.
Yeah, it can be hard. There is, obviously quite a lot available, but being able to get the right information, get a source of truth, be able to connect all the dots together makes it a lot easier. We did just have a question come through over the chat, which I'm going to ask out. So if retailers want to partner up with Lasoo, what's the process like here? And what would you suggest them to do?
So it's pretty simple. There's actually a link on the footer of the website specifically for retailers. We get quite a few retailers every day coming through there inquiring about the platform. So yeah, anyone who's interested, click there. The other option, and he's going to kill me for doing this, but I'll give his email address out, milan.arsenovic@ivegroup.com.au. He's our head of partnership success, and he works with the retailers who are keen to come on the platform in two ways. One, making sure that they're a good fit for both parties. One, for the retailers, and two, for us. We've got quite a unique model, Vinny, where we don't charge any setup fees. We don't charge any ongoing store fees. It's purely a commission-based model. And the reason we do that is to create a win-win situation. So we want to make sure that the retailers who we're spending the time onboarding and pushing live are going to sell. Otherwise, there's no benefit to us, really. So the best way to approach it would be emailing Milan or going through the link on the footer of the platform, sending us an email. Our team on the retailer partnership success side will be in touch and just work through it with you. And if we think it's a good fit, push you live and sell a lot of your products for the benefit of everyone involved.
Excellent. Yeah, it definitely sounds like there's a lot, obviously a lot of potential there for, retailers and for, a lot of different types of retailers. So it's a really exciting space. I've been, working alongside yourself and some of the other team at Overdose on the marketing side of things. So we do have a few questions specifically, about marketing, what channels are driving growth, what are you seeing in terms of combining paid and organic? Yeah, tell us a bit about what the marketing output and outcomes have been like for Lasoo to date.
You're trying to give yourself a rap. You've been doing a good job.
I think it's something we're proud of. We've seen some great growth here, and I think it's always good to hear your perspective as well. We want to kind of see it from the client and from the business point of view, what the kind of marketing channels that you're seeing are driving growth, and where you're kind of getting the best outcomes for the business.
Yeah, no, like ultimately we're happy with the marketing activities. I think all the channels are working well. They're growing fast. No issues with any. We're excited to expand out into some new channels in the near future. Channels like Pinterest, which we haven't really looked at too much to date, but with our strong sales in furniture and home and appliances, it makes sense. So yeah, we're always looking out for new channels, but I would say it's a hard question to answer. All of them are working pretty well for us at the moment. In terms of the paid and organic, they ultimately both work together, and that's one of the reasons we have our SEO and paid together with you guys, because ultimately, they work well in tandem with each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Pinterest is always, particularly for furniture, a really good category, and a great place to get in front of people at that really nice early inspiration level stage. It is a competitive landscape out there, though. So, what are you seeing as some of the ways that you're cutting through the noise and driving strong growth within this competitive space?
I would say one of them is the fact that we've got retailers on Lasoo that aren't on any other marketplaces in Australia. And then we've got deals on Lasoo either through those retailers or through other retailers that may be on one or two other marketplaces, but they've got deals that are exclusive to Lasoo. So unique retailers and unique deals on Lasoo that aren't available on any other marketplace is a big draw card for customers. I would say the reason why, and that's over and above, the great customer experience, as I've already mentioned, which is evident from the system usability scores, the net promoter scores, the Trustpilot scores, all of that. But I would say the reason we've got unique retailers on the platform, and there's more coming, there's a lot of big names integrating at the moment. So looking forward to seeing them continue to go live over the course of this year as well. The reason they're coming onto Lasoo is because of a unique retailer-centric approach. We've developed a platform that heroes the retailers. You can see them front and centre. As I've already mentioned, we're quite selective and curated with the retailers, so we only want retailers on there who sell, so the retailers get a really high share of the traffic that's on there, and in a lot of cases get more traffic than they would on other platforms because of that. They like the digital catalogue experience in a lot of instances. So the larger retailers who have digital catalogues are really enjoying that. The customers really like it. It is our second most interacted with section on the homepage at this point in time. The fact that we're independent, the retailers really like. So, they're not worried about us selling their products, seeing what's selling, and then putting our products in front of theirs, which is a concern on some other marketplace. And then, of course, the financial model is very attractive to the retailers as well. They don't pay a cent unless they actually sell a product. So really, there's nothing to lose for them. And I think, for all those reasons and more, the retailers are coming onto Lasoo where they wouldn't go onto other marketplaces. And that is just helping generate exclusive deals on the platform for customers, which alongside the fantastic customer experience and unique digital catalogue capability is, seeming to strike a chord with the Australian consumer at the moment.
Yeah, wonderful. Love all of that information. I guess on the the consumer front, and as a bit of a final thought, I'd love to hear your predictions for e-commerce in 2024. Do you have any thoughts about where things are heading this year that you wanted to call out?
Look, I think we'll see steady growth in e-commerce. I won't be anything like the COVID era, and I think anybody who thinks it will go up at that steep of an incline unless there's another pandemic, is dreaming a little bit. But we have seen a bigger uptake in online penetration and online shopping in this market. So now I think it's something like 18% of all retail sales in Australia are spent online at the moment. I think I read that in the Australia Post e-commerce 2023 trends report. I think also in that report, just funnily enough, it mentioned that one in every three retail dollars spent in Australia would be online within the next 10 years. And so what I think is we'll see a continued steady growth off what has been an accelerated base on the back of COVID. More importantly than that, I think we'll see a more rapid growth in marketplaces. So I do think marketplaces have proven, their offering, so to speak. While the offering does vary quite a lot between the different marketplaces, they have proven to be a place that Australian shoppers or Australian consumers like to shop. And I think that will continue growing at a faster rate than e-commerce, in the next 12 months, which is exciting because, again, they're working off a pretty decent base as well on the back of COVID.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I think it's a really exciting space to be in. Rob, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Some really, really great takeaways. Loved hearing more of the story of Lasoo. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys continue to thrive in 2024. So with that, we'll say goodbye. Thanks for everyone for joining in on the stream. If you do want to get in touch with Rob or anyone at the Lasoo team, head to their website. All of the contact details are through there. And with that, goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Vinny. See you, mate.